Hello, I'd like to talk to you today from Global Device Management about our new mobile cart for emergency department environments primarily. That's how we've got the cart set up here. We call this our Rapid Response Visual Documentation System for emergency departments. So the idea is when a patient comes into the emergency department, this cart can quickly be rolled in and brought into the room that the patient is in, and the caregiver, all they have to do is plug in this one power cord off the back of the cart, and everything is pre-wired so that you just press the single master power switch on the front, and all the devices turn on, the cameras turn on, and everything is ready for starting the case. So the first thing that you'll see when everything powers up is the large screen display here with the starting screen for the user to use via mouse control. But first of all, what we've got on the cart is a uninterruptible power supply and battery backup on the bottom. We've got a image capture and video recording device that also supports video streaming and two-way conferencing. We also have, it's got a hard drive in it that can store the pictures and videos that are taken. We've obviously got keyboard and mouse, display, and we also have a room camera that can be used for pan, tilt, and zoom for wide out views or fairly close in views. And we have a handheld camera on a retractable wheel that can be brought right to the skin for super close, high detail type image viewing and capture. So these the cameras are hooked into our capture system that allows us to take simultaneous images and video recording from multiple sources. In this case, these two cameras. So we now will start a case. Patient is in the room. We can launch the patient data entry screen first, and here you can manually enter patient information: first name, last name, date of birth, patient ID, etc. Or the system also has built-in software that can be configured to pull in from the emergency department information system that has the patient record information in there already when they first came in, or from the hospital's EMR if the patient is already existing in the electronic medical record system. So you can enter a patient ID and it can do a search, or you can enter a last name and it can do a search and pull in the patient information so that you don't have to manually enter all the information and it avoids errors. But here we'll just go ahead and enter in a patient's name since we're not hooked to a patient record system. So let's say that we're bringing in Lisa Adams, and we'll put a patient ID in here of LA123, and we can enter in other information if need be, such as the physician or attending person's name, the procedure, patient notes, etc. So we'll go ahead and hit OK. And now we move to the part of the system screens where we see the camera sources coming up and the controls for taking pictures and recording video. So we'll go ahead and enlarge this screen first, bring our controls back up, and what we can do here is we have dual source recording and an image capture simultaneously. These two sources are locked together, so you'll have dual views at any point in time during a procedure for still images or for motion video capture segments. And you can change what source you want as the large window versus the small window, and then you can even turn it off to have one main window, which is this camera over here, or you can have the secondary image, which we have the room cam hooked up to, either in a side-by-side arrangement as we're showing here, or in a corner small window view like we had a moment ago. So we have a smaller window for the larger, wider view cam, and then the handheld cam will be the main window. So we want the high detail in the main window. So we are now ready to work with the patient. In this case, we're actually using an orange, as you can see on the screen, as our patient, because the orange can give us some pretty good detail of the surface of the orange skin. So a caregiver might like to use the remote control here for the camera without having to fumble with the camera itself. be able to either have a wider out view to show the interaction of the caregiver with the patient, or in a lot of cases you might just want to get it closer to the patient's body to provide a good reference point for where you might start using the more detailed closer in camera. So you can think of this one controllable camera here as being sort of the 3 to 6 inch range view for an area of the patient's body, for instance, so you know whether you're on the upper part of an arm, a lower part, an elbow, different other areas. So then you can take the other camera, which can be the close-in handheld camera, which is on a retractable reel, so it can be pulled away from the actual cart up to 15 feet away from the cart. And this handheld camera is medical grade, FDA cleared, with disposable heads on it, so you can touch the patient's skin with the head of the camera and dispose the cap here when done. It's also got a focus ring and a light source which has 3 levels of intensity on it. So we're going to go ahead and crank it up to maximum intensity here. Let's go ahead and use this with the patient now. Patient being our orange. So we can now see that we can put this camera directly on the patient's skin, for instance, focused for super high detail, while at the same time our more wide view cam, which is again getting our 3 to 6 inch out type view over here, can actually give us a good sense as to where we are in relation to the patient itself. So here what we'll do is we will go ahead and let me give myself a little more slack here. I'm actually going to go behind here. Go back to my original position here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take a couple of pictures. So I'm actually going to move the mouse over here to make it easier for me. And the system is available with a foot pedal to make it easier for a hands-free operation to do these capture and video record, but we're going to go ahead and do it this way for right now. Take a picture just by clicking on capture right here. You can see a positive confirmation we got a picture taken. We can also then I could move this to a different area of the patient's skin. See an area of interest there. Take another picture there. Now let's say that I want to start recording, taking a video, so I can move it around the patient's skin or surface or get more information on the area of interest. So I start recording. Then I could just start moving the handheld camera around the different areas of interest on the patient. You can see you can get very high detail here. And let's say we going around the patient's area of interest, we find another spot that we think looks interesting. While we're actually doing video record, we can still take pictures, so that can be very helpful to get both views. So let's take another picture, and let's just say now we're done with the pictures that we needed to capture, and we're done with the video recording, and let's say we don't need the cameras anymore. We retract the reel back into its place, put the camera back where it goes. Now we want to review these images that we've just taken. So we can, oops, I forgot to stop recording, it looks like, sorry. Well, we now have our images and video that we have captured, so we'll move to this screen here. And you can now see all the cases that had been done previously. The case file information comes up that shows the date, the time, and the patient ID, so you know which patient, which date, which procedure you're looking at. And here's the 4 images or video segments we captured during this procedure. We could select them all for viewing. We could also select them for printing. We could print directly to a printer on the cart. There's room for a printer, for instance. Or we can print any network printer that may be located at the emergency department main desk, for instance. We can also burn these images and videos to a DVD. We have a DVD drive on the front. We can also put them on a USB jump drive right through the USB ports on the front and take them with us to view them on a PC. or we can copy them to a network server. It's going to be a hospital server that's been set up, previously configured into the system so it knows where to send the information and can communicate to that server to upload the images and the videos to that server. This can also be equipped with a wired or wireless network connection so that you can use Wi-Fi to upload those images to the network server, and as well to pull in the patient case information at the beginning of the case. So let's take a look at these images and videos that we just captured. So now you can view them in full screen. You can see the very high resolution and the quality of the images that have been captured during that case. So this is the first picture we took, and as you can see, we've got the close-in detail of the skin, but what's very helpful is the further out view so you can understand where in relation to the person's body or area of interest that the actual close-in handheld camera was placed. Here we know that it was to the right side of the patient per this picture. This next one was the video segment we captured. So we're now seeing motion video, and we could see the movement of the handheld camera in relation to, again, the patient's body as it's moved around, and we see the areas of interest. So these are, again, viewed in synchronized fashion, so they're, again, provide two simultaneous views even through motion video. You can pause at any point if you see a spot that you think is very, very interesting. You can just hit pause and freeze and take a closer look at the area of interest, or you could just continue right on through. You could even, after you've seen what you wanted to see, you can fast forward through to the end of the video. And this was another picture we took after we found that area of interest, even while we were doing video recording. And then one final image at the end. So we can say we're done viewing. We can choose to keep, delete, push these files again to DVD, jump drive via the USB port or up to a network server, or even to the printer. And then when we're all done with this case, we simply choose exit. And you can go through, though, and look at any previous case that's stored on this system simply by looking at some of the previous cases that have been done. And another thing we can do is this system is also set up via a software package to do live video streaming of anything that we're seeing in this room. So it could be the room camera focused on the caregiver or the patient, and moving between them even, along with the high detail image from the handheld camera at the same time. So a remote specialist could actually be seeing real time in very high detail these exact same images that are being sent up by both cameras simultaneously, even from a PC that they simply use to connect via a web browser to the IP address of this device that's actually sending the images out live. We can also set this cart up for two-way video conferencing. This system also supports that. We've got the camera to send our conversational image and obviously the clinical images back and forth. We can also equip the cart with PC speakers as well as a microphone to enable not just two-way audio, video, but also for recording voices if you want to narrate the information, even if you're not doing two-way conferencing, if you want to have an audio, kind of a voiceover narration of the case you're working on. And then the far end would have a similar device, and then it would enable two-way audio-video conferencing for consultation, for expert specialists if they can't be on site, so it allows for a collaborative environment. And then all of this information can be uploaded when done up to this hospital central server or to a special program that GDM makes called our Video Archive and Communication System, VAX, which acts as sort of an online rich media user portal to be able to view and easily find and catalog and search and collaborate on captured videos and images from the point of care offline at a later date in a very collaborative virtual environment. And that's the subject of a next video on VAX at another time.